So I am going to skip the stuff about classifying numbers and properties. And I want to go down and make sure you guys remember how to do radicals on your calculator. Okay, so let's look at problem number 16. If I say the square root of 324, everybody type that in your calculator. What do we get?
18.
All right. How about a fraction? If I said the square root of 16 over 49, problem 18.
I forgot how to do that.
Okay, so you have different options. If you type it all in on these, and on the EOC, you guys will have my calculators, but there's also Desmos that you can pull up on any question. So you'll have both. So if we just have, oops, I don't want that. The square root, so second square root, 16 over 49. It's going to give me a decimal. How do I turn that into a fraction? Math, number 1. So that is 4 over 7. All right, how do you do a cube root on here? Let's go to problem number 20. The cube root of 343. You go to math, number 4. That's my cube root, 343, and that is 7. What is the cube root of 1,000? Any questions about how to enter a cube root or a square root?
Yeah, can you show me how to do that?
The cube root or the square root? Go to math. Number 4. You're welcome. All right. Now let's go to problem 24. Order of operations. What is it? Yeah, PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All right, so if I'm starting to work this problem, problem 24, we start with our parentheses. Okay, so inside my parentheses, the square root of 400 minus 2 to the 5th. What is the square root of 400? What is 2 to the 5th? If you don't know how to put something in on your calculator, please tell me. We'll be having quizzes with problems like this on it. Okay, we start with our innermost parenthesis. So that's my, oops, I don't know why I have a square there. 20 minus 32 is negative 12. All right, 12 divided by negative 12. So 8 minus negative 1. What happens if you have a minus and negative? So 8 plus 1 plus 11 plus 16. And we get?
1.
Let's go down to problem 27 next. All right, what is this one telling me to do? So we have a 2 absolute value. M is negative 7 minus n, which is 4 squared, plus k, which is negative 2 to the 3rd. Okay, so we have negative 7 minus 4 squared would give me
16.
and what is negative 2 to the 3rd? So absolute value is kind of like parentheses. We start on the inside, so that's negative 23. What does absolute value do to a number? So this, the absolute value of negative 23 is positive 23. So we have 2 times 23 plus negative 8. If we work that out, what do we get?
38.
So, if it's like a negative with the two bars, when you run another parentheses, it just becomes a positive?
Yes. So absolute value, if the number is positive, it doesn't do anything. If the number is negative, it makes it positive. All right. 28. If I plug in my numbers, so we have negative 20 times negative 5. Over negative 5 minus 1 squared plus b, which is negative 20. So we start on the inside. Negative 20 times negative 5 is positive 100. Down here, negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6 squared. What is the square root of 100? 10. Negative 6 squared is 36. So we get 10 over 16, and that reduces, doesn't it? What would that be in lowest terms? And if you're not sure, how do you get it? If you don't just look at this and know 10 over 16 is 5 over 8. Yeah, you can use your calculator. Use your resources. All right, are we okay with order of operations? All right. Let's talk about the next one, number 29. If I just ask you to write this as an equation or inequality, we're not even going to solve it. So the quotient, what does quotient mean?
Division.
Product is multiplication, quotient is division. Okay, so I'm dividing twice a number. What would that mean? Yeah, twice means times 2, so 2x. And I'm dividing that by 7. Is means equals 20. Okay. Do I have to use x for the variable there? No, you could use n or whatever letter you like. Alright, let's look at 31. 7 times, so we're going to be multiplying by the difference. What does difference tell us? Alright, so I have 7 times, but then in my parentheses I have to subtract things. The difference of a number and 4. So we're just doing a number, so like x or y minus 4 is no more than. So it can't be more, that means it's less than or equal to 10. Alright. Remember doing those this year? We've had them a few different times pop up. Solving equations. This should be pretty easy for us. We've been doing that a lot lately. Number 33, what would you do to solve that equation?
Subtract
15 equals negative 3a. And then so a is negative. And remember with those, it doesn't matter if you switch the sides of the equal sign like we did. do a harder equation. Let's go to 37. How much of this stuff are you guys remembering? What would I have to do on 37?
Distribute it.
Distribute. So negative 6 times W, so negative 6W. Negative 6 times negative 4 would make a positive 24. These are on the same side, so we just are adding like terms. So negative 6W plus 8W. So negative 6 plus 8, 2W. So if I subtract my 2W, I get 24 equals 18. But does 24 equal 18? So what did we write here? No solution. What if you solved this and you had 24 equals 24? All real numbers, infinite solutions. So the reason we didn't get an answer here is all of my W's canceled out. We didn't have a variable left. And so if your variables all canceled, it's one of two options. If you're left with something that's true, it's all real numbers. If you're left with something that's false, it's no solution. All right, let's try 41. All right, if I want to solve this for h, that means get the h by itself. How could I get rid of a 1/2? Okay, it's multiplied with the bh, so you could divide by it, or the easier option might just be to multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal of 1/2 is just 2. So a times 2 would give me a 2a. 1/2 times 2, those cancel, so that equals b times h. So now if I ask you to get h by itself, it's multiplied with b, so we would divide. So I'm not getting a number answer here. We just rewrote this equation. So h is 2a over b. And that's all we can do. We found h. Let's go to inequalities. So remember, solving an inequality, it's like solving an equation, except if you multiply or divide by a negative, what happens? The sign flips if you multiply or divide by a negative. Alright, so if I looked at problem 45, we started just like solving an equation. So we have this 3x. We have to distribute the negative 7. So minus 7x minus 21 is greater than or equal to negative 13. Yep. So 3x minus 7x. We can add our 21. We have negative 4x is greater than or equal to negative 13 plus 21. When I divide by a negative 4, what happens? So it's x is less than or equal to negative 2. Alright, do you guys remember, when do I use open and closed circles? Which one's which? Equal to gets a closed, not equal to gets an open. So because we have an equal to at negative 2, we get a closed circle, and then it's everything less, so to the left. If I look at 47, this is also an inequality, but there's 2 of them. So that just means I have 2 separate pieces, we solve them separately, we graph them separately. So the first one, we could subtract our 7. So x is less than or equal to negative 5. Four. The other one is divided by 4. What's the opposite of dividing by 4? So I can multiply the 4 on each side. So those cancel. So we get x plus 14 greater than or equal to 12. 14. So x is greater than or equal to negative 12. So my answer is x is less than or equal to negative 5, or x is greater than or equal. Yeah, I don't know why I got that 12 there. Negative 2. So when I graph this, less than or equal to tells me bracket, or no, closed circle, at negative 5, going to the left, and negative 2 gets a closed circle, and that one was greater, so that went to the right. One more inequality. All right, this is one big one. So we have like 3 pieces. This is kind of like an and. When I graph it, it's going to be in between 2 things for my final answer. So we have to think the middle. That's where my x is. What would you have to do to get that x by itself? Add 2. So you do it to the middle and both sides. Anybody that is not working with me on this stuff, just as a heads up, there will be a final if you choose not to participate in our review. So, what would I do now? Divide by 3. We can't just do it to 1, we have to do it to all of them. So I want you to divide all of these by 3. Do I have to flip my signs?
No.
When does the sign flip? It's a negative. So we have 0 is less than or equal to x is less than 4. So that would be a closed circle at the 0. 4 would get open, and we're looking between those. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We've talked about absolute values, order of operations, equations, inequalities, all kinds of stuff. We are going to do some of these word problems, but I'm going to add those in with tomorrow's. We have some packets that are really long and some that are short. This is a big one, so I'm going to save some of it, and we'll catch up as we go through the week. So, tests. The grades are in the grade book. I will hand them back tomorrow. I have a few people that are still taking that. So I will give those back tomorrow, but if you need to see your grade, it's in there. Your homework. So all the problems I did will be graded when you turn it in. So if you didn't stay caught up, you better get caught up. All right, can I read off the problems that I want you guys to do? All right, go back and circle them. 17, 21, So on the first page, 17 and 21. Okay, on the second page, 23, 25, 26, 30, 32, 34. On the next page, 38, 40, 42. On the last page, 46, 48, 50. If you choose to do more, you can earn extra credit on these packets. So I will reward you for any extra work you put in.